I think art's got to have a meaning, not like painting a bowl of fruit and calling it a bowl of fruit. You could call it, I don't know, decay over time instead of calling it a bowl of fruit. So, which actually paints a whole new picture really, rather than actually seeing a bowl of fruit in front of you. Yeah, my life's good, really is, eh? I get to do what I love doing. And I see other people who are pretty unhappy with their lives. And I thank God that I've got a job, got all this work that I can do. Oh man. This is the price you pay for being an unemployed artist, man. Marley, can you assist in some way, please, babe? I've run out of petrol. I enjoy my life because I love doing art. I have done since probably really young. I had a school teacher when I was about age 10 who gave me one wall of the classroom for my artwork, which was a turning point for me in my life, looking back on it now. From that moment on, I've actually done lots of different art, lots of art styles, but I've got to where I am now, and it's all dealing with recycled stuff, mainly, except for my surfboards. But when it comes to my sculptures, I just use bits of corrugated iron and driftwood and whatever people actually give me. Even nails from building sites, so I don't have to actually buy too many nails, which is good. Keeps the cost down, especially most artists haven't got much money anyway. So it's a good form of actually being able to produce artwork when you don't have to pay too much for it. Yeah, sculptor slash other lots of different arts forms, jewellery, writing poetry, all that sort of stuff. It's just whatever inspires me, and it's got to come out in some form. Come on, I'll show you around. All this driftwood, just find at the beach when I'm going for a surf. It's what I use to produce what I do, which is a lot really at the end of the day. And this piece of yellow sculpture was the one called Sunset to Rise for the World Cup. It was vandalised a few times, but it's just resting here at the moment. I'll find another place for it someday soon. Never have enough tantalised posts that get washed up at the beach, so if you want to build a fence, I've always got some posts here. As you can see, there's driftwood everywhere. One of the places I work, I'm actually working on some little bits of artwork at the moment with school kids. This is all their stuff. It's going to be a panel of all these pieces. A few of my boards, yeah, and one of the workshops. Come down here, I'm restoring this old, about a 1981 to 82 Tom Deacon twin fin. So I'm restoring that at the moment. A couple of other repair jobs. There was a few submissions from my opposers when it got to one of those hearings where they had to submit why they didn't want me to do what I was doing, and some of them got quite personal really. I think they got off the subject a wee bit and targeted me more than what I was doing, which actually it sort of broke me down a wee bit for a wee while. But their problem was that I hadn't gone through the right procedures and I hadn't given the man the money to be able to do all of this, that I'd just gone ahead and done it. Yeah, and one or two of them said that they were satanic. some of my sculptures were satanic, and I was going, what? Whoa, that's pretty heavy. And with some of these people, and one person in particular is a pastor, a minister. Woo! The letter I got from her was not very Christian, and I actually rang that person up and said, can we sit down and have a cup of coffee and talk about some of the accusations you've put in this letter? And I was rudely told that she'd said everything she was going to say in this letter and hung up on me. And I thought, that's really Christian of you. Yeah. Come this way, I'll show you another piece of sculpture I've got hidden over the back beach. It's pretty cool. It's called This Sky Holder. And you'll understand when you actually see it. I find a lot of inspiration in my forest too. It's just the lighting, the trees, the wind through the trees. And I'm really blessed to have this as my backyard. And the back beach right over here. I can lie in bed at night and listen to the beach rumbling away. It's good. It's so good, it's gooder. This piece here I built for the World Cup. I built 26. This one here after the World Cup, the Rugby World Cup, was lying around home, and I thought, what can I do with it? So I brought it round over to onto the back beach, and a few friends, we erected it on New Year's Eve, and it's been up ever since, surprisingly enough, with all the winds we've been getting. A few years ago I had a single wood-fired bath out the back here, and I was listening to the wind in the trees one night and thinking about doing a double, and the wind in the trees said to me, build it and she will come. Still waiting. And this is where I finish off these boards, doing the artwork and then putting the fiberglass on, sticking the fins on, sanding, polishing it back and waxing it, and then going for a surf. And surf on my babies. Oh, running out of petrol. God. Oh man. Yeah, this is the price you pay for being an unemployed artist, man.
Tell us what happened.
Oh, running out of petrol. You know, Marley.
Hello, darling.
Can you assist in some way, please, babe? I've run out of petrol.
Yes.
Can you take me over to the garage so I can get some petrol?
Absolutely, and I'll bring you back.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, friendly locals, eh? Yeah, yeah. It's funny, a lot of people know me, but I don't know them. Oh, this is a random lady, eh? Thank you. Won't be long. Oh, I haven't actually run out of petrol in so long, but I'm always running in the red, eh? Because sometimes it's really hard to, I don't know, find enough money to put 20 bucks in. And the price of petrol, I better get rich and famous soon. Sick of living on the breadline. It's so cool living in a small community some ways. In some ways it is. Because the guys down the garage just said, you know, go and grab the petrol can and go and throw 20 bucks worth in, and they didn't worry about it because they know who I am and they know where I live, and you don't have to leave any gold watch for a deposit or anything. Sculpting, yeah, it comes in many forms for me, like with my boards, but then dealing with the driftwood and side of things again. A lot of my canvases that I make out of driftwood and old bed sheets and stuff, and they're more three-dimensional canvases in a 2D form. This is just another form that I use. This is using my driftwood again and old drapes and sheets. This is unfinished at the moment, but you can just sort of see the construction and using just bits of wood and then stretching the drapes over it and sort of creating a hill mountain scene with all lots of snow and frost around, and still got to layer up some more paint on it yet, but sort of get the idea of it. Three-dimensional canvases. Just turned 51, believe it or not. I look younger for my age, don't I? So I thought I'd do a little birthday present for myself and, you know, just celebrate it. And so I've done this wee piece called 51. So there's a cluster of 51 caddy sticks, or a cluster of 50, and the one over here making 51. Simple, but hopefully effective. And I think it looks good, and I know a lot of other people who have seen it already actually think it looks good too. Damn wind! I think that's what I like to do with my art, is to challenge people as well. Yeah, whatever style I'm working in at the time. I had this, my son and I were sitting watching TV one night, and I had this crazy idea for this little stick figure, and yeah, I quickly drew it down, and it was just a real quick stick figure of this walking creature, and I called it the Water Walker. And I thought that would be really neat to make. So I went down to the estuary, and it was really funny. All the driftwood I needed to make this piece was within 50 metres of where I dropped down onto the beach. Collected it all, took it home, built it, and as I was building it, it grew and it built itself, and it turned into this like a stag, but I called it the Water Walker. So I erected it one night in the estuary, and then the next morning I went down to take some photos of it in the morning light, and the light was hitting it so beautifully, and it was standing in the water, and I was really blown away on how well it came together. And there was about a dozen people already standing there taking photos of it. Long story short, it caused a lot of controversy because I never got permission to put it in the estuary. Had to take it out after I stuck my feet in for a wee bit. It says no. But then I eventually had to take it out, took it home, and then I took it back and repositioned it in a far more visible spot right out in front of Te Hekoi, and they spat bricks. So I had to move it again, went back home. I put it in the Santa Parade for Riverton, and that went down really well, and eventually it came back to here, and I donated it to the old people's home. They run a competition to rename it, and so they came up with the Drifter, and it's here now. I think it's really cool, and it gets a lot of pleasure to a lot of people. Oh yeah, I forgot to say, the guys down at Te Hekoi, or one or two on the council, said put it in the lawn out front of Te Hekoi for New Year's. So dug it in, and while it was there for a couple of weeks, somebody stole its peni, I think that's correctly said. So it was really funny. One day its penis disappeared, so somebody stole it. So I made a bigger one and shoved it back on. That's about it really on that one. Like I said, with this one here, all the wood was right there, and I didn't have to lug it very far to get it to the van, and it took probably about 3 or 4 days to actually construct this one. Sometimes it may take a bit longer because I need one specific piece of wood to actually make the leg right or something like that. So some of them might take 2 or 3 weeks to actually build. Yeah, some just happen in one day, really. This is my Dr. Seuss sort of ongoing piece of artwork, I think. Yeah, gives a lot of pleasure to people. I love sitting here some days and watching the traffic go past, give them a wave. The big one over here, was for the Rugby World Cup, and I put it out in the estuary, and I spent $300 worth of phosphorescent paint on it, and so it actually does glow in the dark, but our twilights are too long down here, so it loses its charge before it gets too dark. But if you put a flashlight on it, it starts glowing at night time. Looks quite cool, and it looked really good out on the water. This piece here, I'll just straighten it up. It's for a good friend, Joy, who passed away not so long ago. And a lot more to the story than what I could try to squeeze in 15 minutes of tape, but yeah, I put it up for her, and she'd wake up the next morning to see it, but she didn't wake up to see it. I left it for the rest of the people here. Here's my question mark. What do you think? When Anthony over here at Riverton Engineers he's proposing to actually bring his shop frontage out onto the main street of Riverton here, and met with a little bit of controversy from one or two of the rounding houses here. And I felt for him, because I thought, you know, what he's proposing on doing is actually really, really good for Riverton. And there's always seems to be those one or two people can actually hold up a good thing for Riverton. And it made me think about my little things of going on about putting sculpture up for Riverton also. So I felt for him, and I came up with the concept of actually doing this thing with the question mark, actually questioning a lot of things, not only his issues but my issues and one or two other issues in Riverton. So I thought, wouldn't it be neat to actually make a question mark, to actually, when people see it, they go, it's a question mark, and then they go, what am I questioning? Which sparks up so much conversation again. So yeah, found a couple of pieces of wood and threw them together and sort of painted them up to make them even more visible and more like a question mark. And an old top from a 10-litre pail of paint, used that as the circle at the bottom. And yeah, it has. The main person who doesn't want Anthony to do his thing, she actually approached me the next morning and says, what's that in the paddock next to my place? And I said, it's a question mark. She said, oh, and tried to get into a debate, so to speak, about her not liking Anthony doing what he's doing. And I said, no, it's a way bigger picture than that, lady. It's not only just your issue, there's a few more issues, and that's why I'm putting this question mark here. So she didn't really, I think she wanted to have a bit of a conversation about my likes or dislikes about what Anthony's doing. And I said, no, it's bigger than that, way bigger than that, lady. I find so much inspiration here. I love coming down to the wharves and looking at the birds and the water, light play on the water. Just so inspirational. I thank my mum and dad for actually bringing me out here at a really early age. It just blows my mind sometimes, some of the things I see around here, and just gives me so much to feed off, so much material to work with, truckloads of stuff that I want to do over the years. I love coming here at night time also, just watching the light on the water. Actually grab my paddle board and come for moonlight paddles on the water. Everybody else is sleeping, and I just love coming paddling and actually doing a lot of my installations at night time also. And just, yeah, it's good. There's nobody else around. just listen to your heartbeat. I'm always really fascinated with the shags around here when they're drying their wings. There's the wee wharf just over to the back here. They're always sitting here, and sometimes you might get half a dozen to 8, 9 shags all standing there drying their wings at the same time. And I just thought, wouldn't that be neat to actually reproduce that in my style, my driftwood stuff. Of course, you go down on the beach again, and there it is. There's this piece of wood that is perfect for what you're wanting to do. So yeah, it just had this beautiful neck and beak arrangement, and it actually had these, you can't really see it from here, but these like fingers as well, and like for the feet. And then I found these 2 nice bits of wood, and had some of that windbreak stuff, and I thought that would be really neat just to hang up for the wings. So I built it, and I had it out on these 3 posts way out in the estuary for about 9 months. A lot of people knew it was there, and really a lot of people thought it was actually a bird. And then eventually a bird sat on its wings after about 9 months and broke one of its wings, so I pulled it down and took it home and repaired it. And it was lying around home, and thought, what can I do with it now? I'll just give it to somebody or whatever. And I was driving past, and I seen this post, and it just went, put me on there. So late one night, it was actually quite a wet, rainy night, got a friend to hold the bottom of a ladder for me, but the ladder wasn't long enough. So it was really it's probably one of the scariest pieces I've put up to date, and needed to have about 5 hands, you know, hold on to the post, hold on to the ladder, hold on to the piece, hold on to the nails with my teeth and tongues, and then beat them in. And all the while, with the lights playing on the water at night, had this vertigo sort of effect going on. I just thought, man, if I fall now, I'm going to try and launch myself out and hit the water instead of hitting the wharf. So yeah, surprising it stayed up there too with the amount of winds that we've had recently as well. So yeah, and a lot of people have made comment about it now that it's more in the public eye. People see it more often, and they just think it's a really cool thing to have there. And to date, I haven't been told to take it off. So I don't know whether my opposers have actually seen it yet or not, but yeah, or maybe they're just naturally dying off and dying away, and and leaving me alone now, because maybe they know that I can't stop me. I've had some really positive, 98% of the time I get this really positive feedback, and it drives me to keep doing it, because I get so much beautiful feedback, so much love coming back at me. I just want to keep doing it. And yeah, it's just, I think that's the reason why I do it, is because it gives so much people pleasure. And even the people who don't like what I'm doing, the 2%, I think that gives me a little bit of a flame in myself to keep doing it as well too, because I think if you're doing something and it annoys somebody, you must be doing something right. Yeah, with the amount of positiveness, it pales the negativeness out. It doesn't exist really to me. The amount of positiveness, it's just, just between you and me and whoever else watches this, there's been moments that it's brought me to tears because of how much good feeling that it's given the general community. And I think if you ask 90% of the public around here too, they'll back me on that one. So I brought a lot of people to Riverton, just driving here to see all the controversy that's been going on, and in doing so, people stop, buy a cup of coffee, and so it actually brings a bit of money into Riverton also, and that's got to be good for our little community, if nothing else. Doesn't make me rich. Makes me rich in lifestyle, but not in money. Money's not everything. A smile and a wave doesn't pay the mortgage, but it makes you feel good.